Okay, it's a quick video for myself, Harvey Goldman. No cuts, no edits, no filters, and no hair. So, I am on my 9 to 5, on a break, and yeah. The video today, really just to have a quick chat about being broke in 2025, and why that might be. So, obviously, we all know about the cost of living by now. I've done several videos on it. It's all over the news. Wages versus inflation is simply not a sum that works out very well for the UK at the moment. There is obviously an illusion out there of people making ends meet, when in actual fact, a lot are really struggling. Earning more money doesn't necessarily fix your problems. And the reasons for that obviously could be various. It could be that you get taxed more. It could be that the amount of hours that you're doing to earn that extra money detracts from other areas in your life, which then causes other problems. If you're in a relationship and instead of doing 40 or 50 hours a week, you're doing 70 or 80, that could have a detrimental impact in another area, just for the sake of earning a few extra quid, which you then get taxed more on anyway. So it's a bit of an illusion that, earning more money fixes everything. It absolutely doesn't. Obviously, a lot of people use debt as a survival tool. And in the past, I've done this myself. There are companies, credit card companies, payday loan companies, BNPL, like buy now, pay later schemes, stuff like that. They keep people stuck. Now, a way to avoid that might be to obviously change your buying habits, stop wanting the latest things. But then it's not always about that, because some people are actually using these services simply to buy food. And that's not on in any economy. That's absolutely crazy. And now, subscription creep is something that I've recently dealt with myself. That's very real. Especially easy with things like gym memberships, with phone contracts, especially TV subscriptions for sort of, the online streaming services. So as you know, also I did a video recently about giving up my TV license and just doing Netflix and Prime. I've got a Netflix account, my partner's got a Prime account, and we obviously just share them between us. It's in the same household. But between us, those subscriptions work out as about £22 a month, which is more than a TV license would be. We have decided that we get more value from it, and therefore, we never want a TV license ever again. But it's very easy to forget about these subscriptions, and when the prices keep creeping up, it does pay ultimately to check them, perhaps every 6 months, every 12 months. Make sure that you're not overpaying for something, or make sure that you're not paying for something you no longer use. It might be that there is a more affordable option within the same sort of ecosystem, if you like. So, for example, Netflix has different types of account. You've got one that's for standard definition, one that's for HD, one that allows downloads to devices to watch later, and so on. Spotify do this as well. They've got different tiers. Obviously, Prime has, you can have ad-free, which is about £4 a month more. And then, of course, YouTube's got theirs as well. So there are various different ecosystems out there within products that you could find a better deal on. And it's important to keep track on those. It's easy to let them slip because they are generally not huge amounts of money. So in the back of your head, you might be thinking, well, Netflix, it's only £10 a month. Now it's only £12 a month. Then it's only £15 a month. But then you add those months up over the year, suddenly that's 30, 40, £50 more a year that you're paying just on that one. And if you've got several subscriptions to things that keep going up in price at various points, it can come to several £100s a year. So food for thought. Subscription creep is absolutely real. Side hustles. Obviously, side hustles, they don't always work. I've done so many different side hustles in my time. Very few of them have actually generated any kind of meaningful income when you consider the time involved without earning that it takes to set some of them up, and then you factor in slow starts, slow growth, and all the rest of it. while you're building the side hustle. Most people fail doing side hustles. Most people give up far too early to see them realize what could be their potential. So side hustles aren't for everybody. And doing a side hustle might in the end actually cost you money. You know, it could be something that really goes terribly wrong. I think poor financial education is obviously a massive thing. I have spoken previously about the absolute sin that things like compounding interest and debt management or debt priority isn't taught in schools, and it 100% should be. I firmly believe it's a way of keeping the poor poor. It's a way of keeping people in their place. Know your role, as it were. But I think if we can educate ourselves in debt management and also savings management, you know, and it's not like everybody doesn't need to be, you don't need to be a stock market genius. You don't need to become super savvy with Forex or anything like that. You don't need to learn those kind of things unless you want to. But to just learn about how the compound effect has such a massive difference, especially once you get over £100,000. That's the sweet spot really for things like compound interest. Getting to that point is obviously, you know, a trauma for a lot of people. It's obviously hard work. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of sacrifice in many cases. Once you get to £100,000, I mean, just Google it is all I say. Google the sweet spot for compound interest, and look at how your savings start to really skyrocket once you hit 100 grand. It's ridiculous. And if that was taught to more children at an earlier age, maybe, you know, 13, 14, whatever it might be, I think that would probably prevent a lot of people from falling into strife later on in life. It would almost certainly give people the motivation from a very early age to look after their future while they're young enough to be less risk adverse and to take a few chances financially. The housing trap is another massive one. Now, obviously, rents are on the increase. I don't think there's any chance of that ever going back to where it was pre-COVID. Home ownership is out of reach for most people. I consider myself very lucky that I got on the housing market when I did in 2019. Had I tried a year later, there's no chance, even with the deposit that I had, which was tens of thousands of pounds, there's no chance that that would be enough to get me anywhere near the place that I'm in now. It's not all beer and skittles. The property, the house that I own or that I've mortgaged, it has gone up in value ridiculously. It's made about 130 grand in 5 or 6 years in terms of perceived value. Obviously, everything else around it has gone up in value as well, so it doesn't really mean anything. It's all relative. But I do consider, in terms of value for money, I got a fantastic deal getting a mortgage when I did in the property that I've got and using the deposit that I had. That wouldn't have been an option for me now. I would be stuck in a renter's market, probably hating every minute of it. Obviously, government, corporations, and policy play a huge role. We've seen energy price hikes. And the ridiculous thing for me with this, and this is a real bugbear, is that the energy companies, and really most businesses like that, yes, they're beholden to their shareholders. Their shareholders need them to make a profit, to maintain their position and maintain their viability as a stock. But surely that can't be at the expense of their customers. It seems ridiculous that in this awful financial period, and it is an awful financial period for most people, that energy providers are reporting record gains. Absolutely reporting record gains. Why is that? That's because they're absolutely screwing every single customer by charging pretty much double what the energy prices were 5, 6 years back. Now, call me an old romantic, but surely there must be something that can be done whereby there's a threshold set. Does a company need to make hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds in profit while all of its customers are struggling to pay the bills to that very same company? It's ridiculous. I think really there should be some kind of cap. As much as there's an energy spend cap set by the kind of regulators, if you like, there should be something that's set for shareholders. I think it should be if a company's made 100 million in a year, at that point they're done. I mean, they don't need to make any more, do they? The shareholders are making money. The CEOs can get their millions and millions of pounds worth of bonuses, and everybody still wins. But the customers don't get shafted. Now, I know obviously that's never going to happen. It's an ideal world. It's a capitalist world, and I'm speaking from the mindset of somebody that's got no money. So, so what do I know? Shut up, Goldman. But in an ideal world, that'd be the way that I see it. There should be some kind of maximum threshold, and if shareholders aren't happy with that, then don't be shareholders. There is obviously a way to escape this. Now, again, it's not easy. Most people can't. Most people are stuck in this trap because of a lack of education, B, a lack of ability to make enough money to pull themselves out of it. Or perhaps they've got other issues like mental health and everything else that kind of make all of the other factors equally unobtainable. But you can use budgeting hacks to help you a little bit. Now, I've done this in the last 6 or 7 weeks. I have saved money. I think I've saved somewhere over £1,100 a year so far, just implementing small hacks like cancelling subscriptions, changing contracts, changing the way that I save, and trying to change the way that I spend. And obviously, smarter spending habits, that's a massive one. Don't go out and do takeaways every night of the week. Maybe do it once a fortnight as a treat. Do you really need to have the most expensive car on finance and pay interest payments that are to the moon? Probably not. So much of it could be downgrading your lifestyle a little bit. I know that the temptation might be to say, right, just downgrade everything, live like a peasant. It's not realistic. I mean, imagine the kind of life you would have doing that. It's not realistic for most people. But there are certain things that you can skimp on. And I think obviously the most important one is to probably build income building strategies, but strategies that actually work. So whether it's leveling yourself up within your current job to try and get that promotion, try and get that pay rise, and then avoiding wage creep or lifestyle creep along with the increase in wages, that would give you free income, or that would enable you to clear bad debt, which again costs you less money in the future. It would enable you to invest. So leveling yourself up is one way to do it. Leveling your knowledge up is another way to do it. Get wise about pensions. Find out where your pension's being invested. Do some research. I went to see a financial advisor. It gave me a consultation. I paid £45 for half an hour. And it set me straight on a few errors that I'd made. It opened up a few other avenues for me. I consider it money well spent, to be fair. And off the back of that, I've reinvested a certain portion of my pension fund. And I'm going to see how that goes for the next sort of 12 months, 12 to 36 months, and then sort of reassess it at that time. But yeah, so, if you need to get a side hustle, have a look at a side hustle. If you can't level up within your own job, look at something that you can do that makes you mobile, just in case. So if your job is in an office like mine, look for a job that you can do online from anywhere. Look for a job maybe like a digital nomad or something that's purely online based. It doesn't need a location or a vehicle. It's about protecting yourself as well. Because if I lose my 9 to 5 job, or I just get fed up and leave, I've at least got something that I can fall back on. I've got a parachute. And to be fair, with the economy the way it is, with life the way it is for most people, and the financial outlook, to be honest, looking absolutely terrifying for the next sort of 3 or 4 years, you want as many parachutes as you can get. And this is the one thing, if I took away anything from my financial advisor chat, it was that. It was about creating parachutes. And it's going to become a big part of my strategy moving forward. and I want several. So, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, what are you doing to deflect the kind of horrible economy that the country's in? What's your advice if somebody's broke in 2025, or if they're really struggling with money at the moment? What would you do if you were in their shoes? Let me know in the comments. Really keen to find out. Like I say, all of the videos that I put out, yes, I research topics. 90% of it's just personal experience. I honestly am not in any position to give anybody financial advice. I can only talk about what works for me in my situation. And obviously everybody's situation is kind of very different, one person to the next. But anyway, I'm going to go back to my lovely 9 to 5. YouTube's going to put a video up here somewhere. Maybe check that one out. Like, follow, subscribe, ring the bell, all that jazz. Another video tomorrow. Goldman. Peace out.